Hi, this is Rob from dnbalmanac.com with This Week in Dave Matthews Band History. This week in 2003, D&B played The Great Lawn at Central Park in New York City. The show has been and will always be considered a career highlight and was attended by more than 120,000 people. The show itself features elite performances by the band a few days after the close of the summer tour. The set is stacked with crowd favorites and a handful of rarities thrown in, and plays like an early live greatest hits. Frequent guest in New York City local Warren Haynes guested on Cortez the Killer and Jimmy Thing. The show was webcast on AOL, then of course released as the Central Park concert on CD and DVD. You can find all of the shows from huge events like Central Park to small gigs at tracks at dnbalmanac.com, and we never stop looking for information on older shows. Follow us on Facebook and Threads to get daily updates with everything that happened that day in the band's history.
Have you ever stopped to think about the fans behind a band? What is it about the music that keeps fans coming back for more? Or is there more? My name is Renae Lipsmeyer, and I am the host of this podcast, The Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band. Each week, a fellow DMB fan joins the show to discuss their journey with the band. Welcome to the Space Between Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of a band that's been making music for over 30 years. If this is your very first time listening to this podcast, thank you so much. There are over 170 other episodes, and each one of those is a different fan from the band that we're going to talk about, which is Dave Matthews Band. Now, this is a special episode because we're going to talk about two bands, which is something I don't do a lot. But when there's musicians on the show, of course, we're going to talk about their music. And so I'm so excited to hear this story. I found our guest on TikTok, which is just a really cool thing to find someone on there. And what he does on TikTok just matched up with my algorithms. And he was just popping up all the time. And I was like, okay, I'm supposed to check this person out and see what's going on. And I did. And he's here today to talk about more of that. So tell us, who are you? What's your name? Where are you from? And tell us something cool about you.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm Jeff Petescia. I'm from a band called Cold Weather Company. I'm from Jersey, and we are a New Jersey-based band. And something cool about me is I play guitar backwards. So when I cover all Dave's songs, I'm doing it inverted because I play with a low E string on the bottom.
Wow. Anything you like to do outside of music for fun?
I love soccer.
Yeah.
I haven't played. I used to, be in beer leagues and all that. It's been a bit. I've taken a hiatus, but I do love soccer, and I love to travel. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you the question that I ask every guest that's on this show. When and how and where did you first hear of Dave Matthews Band?
When I was a little kid, I just have memories of my brother watching. I think it was listener supported. I just remember the carpets because that was always a symbol. Became a symbol later in life. Like if you're on stage on a carpet, you made it. That was always in my head.
That's right. It's a big deal.
But it was kind of that, and just hearing songs around the house from my older brother.
Yeah. So your older brother was a big fan, and you kind of followed behind, probably because you had no choice. Or was it just when you heard it, you were automatically in it? Which way did it go? Did it kind of drive you crazy enough to get you to listen to it, or did you just give in from the beginning?
So it was interesting because I was too young, and I was more into Green Day and Blink-182 as I started getting into music. I was more into rock, and my brother, and I still love them.
Yeah, yes.
And my brother was just really getting into this band, and he would just play it all the time, and he would try to get me into it and make me mix CDs. And there's some strong songs I liked. I was like, oh, it's cool, but in my brain, I was like, punk rock is cool, electric guitar, not violin and sax or any of that stuff.
Yeah. And
then for my 13th birthday, I was actually kind of disappointed. My brother's a graphic designer, and he made me, for my birthday, because I wanted to go see Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe in theaters.
Yes.
So he got me he designed this little booklet. I was like, we're going to go see this movie tonight, and all the logos, the movie cover. And I opened it and it said, just kidding, we're going to see Dave Matthews Band tonight. And I had the tickets for MSG. It was 2005, December 9th, for my birthday. So I was actually kind of disappointed. I was like,
I bet.
yeah,
You were like, I wanted this.
and I'd never been to a concert before, so I was like, oh, that's exciting, but also I kind of want to see this movie. And I'm like, this is your band that you're into, not me.
Right.
And then he took me to see it, to see DMB, and it changed the trajectory of my life. It changed the way I thought music, like just seeing that band live for the first time, the energy in the room, and also it was, rock meets jazz. This is when Butch Taylor was piano playing, and this is that sound back then, the stand-up tour. And it was like just rock, jazz, bluegrassy, jam band. It was everything you could ever want. And I think the recording of Two Step, I had the recording for years after I would just listen to, and I became obsessed. So
yes.
The turning.
Yes. So let's walk back. I mean, I know this was a very long time ago and it's hard to remember everything, but I'm sure that you can remember a few things. What were your expectations going into this concert? Because, you were familiar with their music because brother was playing it all of the time. Mm-hmm. Had you, before the show, really sat down and kind of dug in even more? Or were you just going, okay, we're going to this show and I'm just going to see what happens?
I to be honest, I don't remember. I had a few songs that, and also I should back up. I should say when Some Devil came out, my brother was really pushing that record. And I was like, okay, Gravedigger's cool, and Some Devil's very pretty. And I kind of got I was into it, but I wasn't crazy about it. Gray Street, right. I hear Gray Street and go, okay, that's a cool song. And at that point, the album Busted Stuff was out, and there's just such bangers on that record. To this day, that album is just, Lily White I had first. I had the Leak, and then Busted Stuff.
Yes.
So I don't remember leading up to the show if I really prepped. I just remember being like, oh, I want to see Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And it's like, no, you're going to go see Dave. And you're like, and I was like, but I was still excited. I wasn't too mad or anything or bummed out.
I mean, it's pretty cool either way to be taken to MSG.
It's amazing.
You can see anybody in there and it makes it cool.
Yeah. The fact that I even had any inch of disappointment, it in hindsight was the dumbest thing in the world.
You didn't know.
I didn't know. I was a kid, but.
Right. So you get into the building, you sit down, the band comes out, and they do what they do. So tell us how that changed the trajectory of your life.
Well, Dave came out before the band came out, and everyone went nuts. And I was like, and when you're 13, you see a somebody in person for the first time, you're like, holy shit. He just said, I have peanuts stuck in my teeth.
That was his first thing.
Yeah, it was like the Dave speak, just something weird that he would say.
Yeah.
And he said that, and I was like, what? And then he, did the thank yous and all that kind of thing. And then when the band came out, I wish I could remember, because I listened to that concert for years afterwards. I wish I could remember what they opened with. I don't know if it was One Sweet World, but I mean, that set list was insane. It was like the perfect intro to Dave, like Dave 101. And the two-step was nuts. Even the poem he sings before going into it, during the build up, and he kind of riffs. I still remember the poem and everything. I would cover it in my room years later and be like, saying those words to myself. So,
yeah. What a great time to get to see them. And obviously you didn't know at the time, but of course we know the future. So, the stand-up tour is so, to me, very special because the stand-up album was the last one that Leroy was on. And so he didn't pass away till 2008. So you got in at a really good time for a first show. And I know that you know that now. Mm-hmm. Because there's been such a change in the band, not in a bad way. I mean, yes, but also it's also worked out for them. So you leave the place, which I'm sure was just electric the whole time. Did you get that feeling? Like when you were walking away from this first show, what were you thinking? Well, and again, this is hard because you were young, but
it kind of ruined concerts for me in general, because my first concert was Dave, and there's just not an energy that feels like that. Well, there is. I shouldn't say that. There's plenty of shows that are really good that create amazing energy. But it's not. It's just not a Dave show. It's something that it's hard to describe. So leaving that show, I was just kind of. It was one of those you can't sleep because you get home and you're like, what did I just witness?
Yes.
I mean, at that point, before that, I was starting to, when it comes to the musical side of it. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a musician. I was the only one of 4 kids who never took an instrument in school or anything. I was just a soccer player. And then I kind of wanted to dabble with guitar. I was writing little songs to myself, kind of punk rock songs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then once I saw, that concert, it kind of marinated the idea, or I don't know if that's
I get it.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And I remember, so in school, like there wasn't Dave Matthews Band fans, so I really felt unique wearing the DMB shirt. I had the Fire Dancer, and it was cool being like, well, probably it wasn't cool, but to me it was cool being the Dave Matthews Band kid. There was another Dave Matthews Band kid that popped up years later, and I used to be more possessive because that was my thing.
It's your band.
So he had a T-shirt, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you like Dave? Yeah. Well, how many songs? Like, stats,
yeah, of course.
Whatever. Kind of like a Dave, like how many shows have you been to?
Yeah. What's your level?
Like they're not confrontational like that, but I was like,
I get it.
What's your favorite record? What version of a two-step, made you feel a certain way? But
it is those questions.
In school, through high school, I would do, it was very nerdy, but it's fine. These Dave Matthews t-shirt weeks where I would just be like, well, I have more than 5 Dave shirts. I'm just going to wear all Dave shirts this week. And I would just do that.
It's Dave week.
Yeah. I would just, just a little thing I did.
I love that. I love that. So what grade at this point were you in?
So it was 7th grade that I first saw the show.
Okay.
Then my brother took me to Fenway 06. So I got to go to Fenway.
Wow.
The second night. And then this is a good Dave story I got for you. Let me back up. So give a shout out to my brother. He's a man. He started a website called dmbart.com, and that eventually became part of amidreaming.org. And then he was like part of that for a while. He's done like cool stuff as a freelancer and his company with designs for the bands, and he did Tim Reynolds' TR3's Radiance album. So he's like awesome. This super fan that also it just became like a passion and also a profession in a way. So he's got his own cool story in his own world, and he's the one who brought me in because he was just so involved. I think he was at Central Park like pretty close up. He's definitely a passionate Dave fan. So I always like to give him the shout out because he paved the way and gave me that. Because without that, I would have been, I don't know. I wouldn't have gone to Dave as my first show. I wouldn't have played guitar maybe. So right.
But
yeah, enough about him. I'm just kidding.
This is your show, but he's such a big part of your story. But you know what? Your brother, and I'm sure that he may listen to this because you're talking about Dave. I invite him to come on to tell me the other side of the story. I feel like it would be really cool to hear his side of it.
The perspective of spreading Dave around, playing it so much in the house where we had to listen to it.
Yes.
But so we went to Fenway, and this is where I met Dave. So I met him one time.
Wow.
He bought my Sharpie for $1, and it was the coolest thing in the entire world. And I have the dollar still. I should have it. It's framed. It's somewhere downstairs. It's he just was like, can I buy your Sharpie? And took out $1 from his wallet. And I was so starstruck and like shaking, and he signed the $1, and that was the coolest thing. I was so stoked about that. Yeah. So I went to Fenway. That was a crazy night too. It was an amazing set list. It was so cool. And then I think what really did it for me was Dave and Tim. I saw the show right before Radio City. So it was in Massachusetts. So it was a similar set list. It just wasn't that show, but it was like UMass.
Yes.
Hearing those songs stripped down, 41. I remember the flip phone recording of 41 that I had for years. I would just stare at it. Or the Stone. I had the Stone. I had 41. And it converted me into like, I have to play guitar. I have to do that.
Was that the moment you decided that you were going to?
No, I would continue to listen to Dave and Tim, right? I would listen to Luther College. And I'm like, what is he doing? Like, who plays guitar and comes up with these things?
Right.
And what is Tim Reynolds doing? Who is Tim Reynolds? What is this?
Right.
And what did it for me was there was a kid who was maybe younger than me or my age range, and he was playing 41 on YouTube. And this when YouTube like first came out. And I just kind of got jealous, and I was just like, I just got frustrated, and I was like, I'm going to learn. I'm going to do it. And that was and I picked up my sister's guitar, and on one string figured out All on the Watchtower, like doom, 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 just that riff.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of pretending I was like doing the intro,
You just figured it out.
Yeah. Because it was on one string. So I was able to like match the, because it's only three notes. So,
It sounds simple to you, but I'm like, dude, I'm telling you right now, I could pick up that guitar over there and listen to something 1,000 times, and I would never get the one string correct.
Well, in my memory, it was like I just knew how to play, but realistically, I was probably like I don't know. It probably took hours and days and it to eventually figure out something, and maybe it wasn't even right. So I can't just say like I picked up the guitar and knew what I was doing. It's not
automatically was like rocking out.
No, but I did pick up the guitar and pretend I was because he does play it on one string. Sometimes that intro kind of
Gotcha. So that led you to decide to keep playing?
Yeah, I guess you really have to be stubborn to play guitar, and especially to teach yourself and backwards, right? Because I'm right-handed. My fun fact is I'm right-handed, and in everything I do except for randomly hockey and golf, which I don't golf or really play hockey, and also guitar. So most guitars are righties, and the only one in the house was a righty. And I thought it was maybe a phase. I didn't want to be like, "Hey, mom and dad, can I get a guitar for Chris?" or anything like that, because I just didn't want the attention, and I just want to keep it to myself that I was dabbling. So I just picked it up, learned backwards, and I'm just a stubborn person and I would just come home from school, and it wasn't Dave right away because Dave's tricky. So maybe I would. Songs like
from Dave, or wait, from someone else.
No, it's Dave. It's a Dave song.
Yes,
Loving Wings.
Yes, Loving Wings. They don't play that enough.
So something like Loving Wings or Proudest Monkey, like those, I could kind of dabble with. But I really started with like Adam's Song by Blink-182, Damn It by Blink, maybe a Chili Peppers riff like Californication, a Foo Fighters riff here and there. So it wasn't like I could just play Satellite or Warehouse. Right. Those were going to be the goals. I was like, I'm going to play 41, but my fingers don't do that yet. Yeah. I had to stick with it. I had to be able to play the Dave songs.
So at what point do you reveal to your family, okay, guys, this is gonna, I've been playing a little bit and I want to do whatever. Were your parents surprised when they finally realized that you had been sneaking your sister's guitar?
Yeah, well, it became obvious because the family computer, I would just sit there hunched over and it was an acoustic at this point. She had like a crappy electric, and I would secretly be able to steal that and like go in my room. But at this point, it was like, well, I need to read tabs. And so I couldn't be as shy about it as I wanted to. So I think they just were like, oh, he's got a new hobby. That's cool. Like, yeah, I'd play quietly. So it wasn't like, I wasn't like a drum kid where I was like, so.
Exactly.
But yeah, they were supportive always. Especially my brother, it was cool to be able to, I was like, hey, look, I'm playing Dave songs. Like, aren't you impressed? That kind of thing. So.
Does your brother play guitar?
He doesn't. He played bass, I think, in high school for a bit.
Gotcha.
He might dabble with the ukulele, but not often.
Yeah. So what's next? You've been to a show. You understand what the whole live Dave is. You're stumbling along. You're learning the guitar with the hopes that one day you can play certain songs. So. What's your next step?
Well, the next step was like getting out of my shell to play in front of people, and also jamming, because I learned by teaching myself, but also through friends. And I've spread the Dave Matthews band fandom to, and in return, I got, State Radio, who's Chad Stokes from Dispatch. So I got into like Dispatch through, and
awesome.
I actually gave Radiohead to my friend. I almost said he gave me Radiohead. That's not true. I gave him Radiohead and Moby. And he gave me a bunch of bands, Zappa and Grateful Dead, another friend, so we would just jam. And I had one friend who, a really good guitar player named Jeff Doubleday. And he, another Jeff, Geoff though. We had a Jeff and Jeff little duo for a little bit. And he showed me like the Dead, but I got him into Dave and showed him that side. And I think it was a really nice mix of cover songs we do. And for the talent show, junior year, we did Ants Marching. I didn't sing. I was afraid to sing for too many years, but we did Ants, and I was really proud of that, to play Ants on a
Absolutely.
stage.
Do you have that on video?
No.
I'm not going to ask you for it, but I'm just curious.
I would love to see it. I wish it existed. I'm sure
bad, right?
This was 2009, so it wasn't
so
like
definitely the technology was there, but you know, it just wasn't probably on the forefront of like, let's record this, Right.
Yeah. Especially like, I don't know, Dave Matthews wasn't this huge thing for my high school. Like people liked it, but it wasn't like the early, like my brother's, 10 years older, and that was like the Dave, I feel like, craze. And then maybe it was just a geographic thing, but I was still like definitely a Dave Matthews guy in high school. And there's a few people who, dabbled in the Dave fandom, but it wasn't huge. So Ants Marching might have been obscure. Like, why are you guys playing, that song or something like that?
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whichever fits while you're listening. This is Dave Ritz. I did an acoustic live show on August 10th out in Las Vegas, and it is available now on all platforms. So check it out under the Eddie Casino Band. Check it out.
I feel like you must have gotten pretty good in your guitar skills to play Ants.
Yeah, I was definitely I was practicing so much, and I was in love with it, right? So I have an early YouTube video from 2009. I do have a recording of me in this like computer chair, and it was a Dave Matthews medley, and it wasn't like these days if I do a medley, it's in the same key or it transitions, and it makes sense. But back then, I just played every Dave song I can think of, and it, the transitions weren't as smooth as you'd hope, but it was cool. It's a grainy video. I got like 41. Funny the Way It Is was new. That was the new one, so it was exciting to be like, I'm playing Funny the Way It Is.
Right.
And Ants was part of that. Liner
Well,
Graves.
if you find that video, it my way, and I'll insert it in the middle of this video so people can kind of live that moment with you. That would be really cool.
Yeah, that exists. That's still up there. There's some embarrassing ones from way back when, but that one's okay. I don't even think my face is in it. Yeah, it's from the neck down. So,
and that's okay. We just want to hear you play.
Yep.
So you're how old at this point?
So
once you're playing Ants on stage,
so I was 16 years old. 16. So I guess in high school it was just kind of covering songs and writing songs too. But my struggle was I would write the songs, but I was afraid to sing. And I think it's one of those, like when you're a kid and you're like, you don't actually try singing, but you do it sarcastically, and people are just like, "Oh, don't quit your day job" or something like that.
Yeah,
and
yes.
For me, I guess I was pretty sensitive, and I was like, "Oh, I can't sing."
I can sing, yeah.
I decided I didn't care though, because you know what? I was like, I just want to do it. So I got a few lessons, and that helped me have the confidence. And the vocal coach, Elisa Gerlando, she's awesome, and she's in Jersey, and she's a Dave fan. So she took me on as a client and liked it because I wanted to like scream all on the Watchtower, the Dave version. She's like, hell yeah. But do it the right way so you don't blow out your,
Right.
So she gave me a lot of tips and tricks and gave me the confidence to be able to do it. And so when I went to college, my goal when I was at college was just to start a band. Like I was like, I want to be one of those like Dispatch stories where I want to start a band in college.
Yeah.
And I manifested it correctly because I met my bandmate on a park bench, which was really cool. It was a weird.
How random, but
very
also
random,
perfect.
Serendipitous. He walked by me. I happened to be on this campus I had no business being on. And I had my guitar, and I was practicing on a bench for an open mic. And he happened to walk by, and he had the same brand of hippie shoes, Sanuk shoes, and he had a Chad Stokes t-shirt, and no one knows who Chad Stokes. I shouldn't say no one knows who he is. A lot of people know who he is, but it's a little bit. The name Dispatch is much bigger, and even Dispatch, a lot of people don't know Dispatch. But Chad Stokes, his solo record, a lot of people, that was new, and I don't know if many people knew in my context who that was. So seeing my heroes on a t-shirt, the hippie shoes, and then the same brand of guitar case, this dude walks by, and I look at him, and it was like one of those moments where I was like, I can't not, this is weird. Like, it's like
this is meant to be.
Spider-Man meme.
I have to talk to you.
Yeah. So I called him over, and we just exchanged numbers, and it took a few years to, try to start a band or collaborate. And then we finally did 2 years later, and we met, our piano player, Steve. I saw him at an open mic night because we started, networking, getting into the music scene at Rutgers in Jersey. And I saw Steve play, and I was like, he was like with another band, and I was like, oh, he's busy, and he's got his own thing. But I still gave him my number. To jam, and we met up to jam, and we played some gig at Rutgers. We had the opportunity to perform, and we were like, are we a band? And we just decided, yeah, let's do it. So
what year was this that you? This was kind of officially started?
2013. So the first 2 years of college, 2011 to 2013, it was a lot of me, becoming a better musician through friends that were at the music school, learning some theory concepts that as a self-taught, it's cool to say you're self-taught in some ways, I guess. But to be honest, if I would have got guitar lessons, and it's like learning shortcuts that, things I discovered myself in 3 years, I could have learned in 2 weeks. So, being self-taught is like, it's not something to really, I'm grateful to have met people who gave me kind of a kick in the something to be like, hey, you actually don't know what you're doing.
Sounds good, but you don't know
how chords work together, and here's how they do this will make your songs better. So I met a lot of people like that helped me, and got into Tallest Man on Earth. That was a big discovery. Edward Sharpe released their second record at that point. Fleet Foxes were a big inspiration and for our band, and Iron and Wine, that kind of realm. So by the time we all met up, we kind of, Steve, our piano player, came from a more indie alternative, rock vibe.
Yes.
Yes. And me and Brian were more the indie folk direction. Eddie Vedder's Into the Wild, or like that kind of vibe. And Steve, and the National, another great band. We just name bands for the rest of the podcast, to be honest.
That's okay.
But so at this point it's 2013, and we just started writing songs together. We're all songwriters. We're all singer-songwriters. So they're really into harmonies, and they taught me how to harmonize pretty much, my bandmates. So I started to learn how to sing with them. We started writing songs where we take turns with verses, or someone would have a lead on a song, or bring a song in that's more of a Jeff song, or more of a Brian song, more of a Steve song. And then we'd have the ones where we write together, and it just became this like therapeutic outlet and just goal for all of us, just our passion. Started playing around campus.
Sure, it was really nice to meet other people that just got what you were trying to go for. Like it felt good to be on the same wavelength.
Oh yeah, of course. Because my goal was, I got to graduate, with some degree, but I don't want to.
Yes.
I want to be a musician.
Right.
And I'm grateful to have done both and still be in this band. We're going on our 13th year.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So how does it go from a college band to what it is now? Like, tell me the story, because that's not a story that I get very often. And I think people are interested in how bands form and what their history looks like. Of course, everyone that's listening to this, we probably know a lot about how Dave Matthews Band was formed, but every band forms differently. So how does it go from college band to what it is now?
Through a lot of drama and growth.
Drama.
Yeah, because you know what? I think, I was definitely a problem for a while and just kind of immature. And I think, and the way we met, we're three very different people who respect the hell out of each other. But we've had our ups and downs. A band's like a relationship. So, but I think the cool thing is, no matter what, we all loved what we were doing so much and so passionate that like it always outweighed the stupid drama we would have.
Of course.
So it is a brotherly kind of relationship. It really is. It's even to this day. It's like we're in some we're not that different in some ways. In some ways we're extremely similar. In other ways we just are like brothers that have our differences.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you're all passionate about something, that it just outweighs. And then as soon as you get support and you have people that reach out to you and they're saying how a song helped them, you have this responsibility to be, not to, shouldn't say responsibility to do it always, but just to carry a brand, a vibe.
Yeah.
And I think we've always, and that's another important thing, we've always been on the same page of, certain things we'll do that's more Jeff branded or that's more Steve branded or like, so the cohesive, who we are as a unit sometimes would fluctuate. But I think overall, especially these days, we're just on the same page. Like we know what we're going to say, what our voice will be. We know what not to say. Right. We know if something's going to be a risky, weird post, it's like, well, just put it on your solo page or something.
Right.
Especially with me on TikTok. Sometimes I'll talk to the camera and I don't say anything crazy controversial, but like I'll say things that's like, I don't know if I should put this on the band account. Like I can put my own face to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah. So I know that, writing songs and writing the music that goes behind all of it and then starting to play in front of people, that adds more work, right? So not only are you just trying to vibe with your new mates and get that whole side down, but then there's bookings and traveling if you do go from place to place with all of this equipment. When did this start and how did you manage all of that?
Yeah, well, we fell into a little business right away, which is pretty cool. So Brian's really talented. He's a photographer, a videographer. He's just a very creative visual artist, graphic design. Mm-hmm. And I was always kind of the finance, the numbers guy or the business, I guess back then I would have thought of myself as like the business guy as if I was stern ever.
Right.
No, it's not. But I was more, I guess numbers. Steve was just, it's like PR, social media, building communities. I feel like around campus, he had a lot of friends and was just very approachable. So he had this, he was probably the more extroverted. Yeah. So he might've been like, so it just worked as this unit. And, as we started traveling, Brian, he graduated at that point, but he lived locally, and he, in his Subaru, we would just pack up and drive. We're pretty easy to, especially as a trio.
Right.
And we record, these days, a full band with drums, bass, and we have strings, we have saxophones, we have a lot of stuff. But back then it was, and these days too, when we play live, it's easier just to the three of us. We have our own little amps or a PA system. So we did a couple tours. It'd be like up and down the East Coast. We went out to, where was it, Iowa, to play this Day Trotter session. It was like our big trip. We played in Chicago and then went through Canada. Learned that you can't just casually play in Canada. Turns out, we didn't know that when we were like 20 years old.
I didn't know that either.
I mean, you can, but there's border, things.
You have to get.
Like, well, what are you doing here? Are you selling merchandise? We're like, yeah. Well, you can't. Like, what are you selling? It was like that kind of thing, where it was like,
yeah,
who's paying you for the gig? Like, where are you playing? It was, I forget the circumstances, but we just, we were one of those cars that they made pull off, and
yes.
And Brian kept everything in cigar cases for some reason, so they thought we were like bringing in all these cigars and we're like sketched out by it. But when you open them, they're just like microphones or whatever else. We kept them there.
Right. Cigar boxes used to be like a big thing that my parents would keep stuff in. So I totally get it.
Maybe not microphones, probably like CDs or whatever we were doing.
Who knows what? Yeah.
But
did you make it into Canada that day?
We did. Yeah, we played a show to no one. It was awesome.
Oh, it was practice. In Canada.
No, that's just part of every band story. Like, yes, it's not an exaggeration when someone's like, I used to play to just the bartender. It's like, oh yeah, we've done that way too many times.
It's part of it.
It's just part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So when did people start to follow? Like, what was the moment that you were like, okay, I think that this is going somewhere?
Yeah, it was in college because we had in the local scene, we were kind of, we weren't big, but there were people that knew us, that would come to our shows. And I guess once we started recording our music, I just heard something special in the recordings. And I could always say that because, in this band, it's our music, but there's a lot of songs that are Brian led or Steve led, where it's like I'm playing guitar on it, but I'm not singing at this point. Or I didn't write this part, I'm just playing guitar. But I can appreciate it as an outside person because it's like, it's not like I'm hearing my own song.
Right.
So there's a lot of that going on in the beginning where I would listen to our recordings and be like, wow, I am so proud to be part of this. And I just really believed in it, and we all did. When we graduated, we only had one record out. And it was like, our first album is just, it has a special place in my heart, and it's got some songs I'm really proud of. But it was very, very like recorded in dorm rooms kind of vibe, just very bootleg. So,
but also a reflection of like where you were at the time,
Yeah, exactly. It's a timestamp, and that's what I love making. I love making albums with these guys because it's like it captures three different stories of like. Yes. It takes us like 4 years to make an album on average. I don't know why, but it usually takes us like 3 or 4 years, and it's just like a timestamp of like, Jeff was going through a breakup, or Steve was going through a breakup, or like Brian was doing this, But we graduated, and didn't know, you're in limbo of like, well, I didn't feel like the material we had. I felt like the songs we were writing was what we needed to create in order to propel us. Like, I didn't feel great handing out that first record. Like, I remember I handed the CD to Ted from Mumford & Sons, the bassist, and he was so nice about it. He's like, yeah, we'll listen to it in the van. Like, just, he actually was really cool. We met him.
That's awesome.
He it was like one of those people you meet that just gives you the time of day, and it wasn't like, yeah, I'm stimulated because I'm a celebrity, and like, oh yeah, cool, man. No, he like, when you talk to him, you had its full attention. I was like, why is this guy caring? Like, it was very, very sweet. I gave him our album.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure. I have no idea what happened after that, but
he totally listened to it. He totally did.
Yeah, he was probably like, oh, this sounds like a band that wants to be Mumford & Sons, because a lot of those, I don't think we're trying to rip them off, but we were definitely influenced by Mumford for that first record, for certain songs. So
yeah.
But yes, we graduated. Me and Steven, we kind of stayed in the area to just create the next batch of music. We kept having these songs come from us. So we made a second album, and then that turned into a third album. And the third album was like, all right, let's drop the whole only doing primarily the 3 instruments. Like on the second record, we had like some drums and bass, but in the third record, we just went full, just production, and that took a long time. And then we just been kind of doing that for years, and all of a sudden 13 years passes by, and we just released our 5th album.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey,
This is Carolyn, the founder and CEO of the nonprofit safeinharmsway.org. It's an honor to be part of the Space Between podcast family, and very thankful to Renae for offering us time to talk about how people can show up for themselves or someone they love who is experiencing violence in relationships. It's a scary time in our country for people experiencing violence. 80% of the shelters in the United States are closing down due to drastic cuts from the federal government. So shelters are closing their doors and hotline calls are left unanswered. But at Safe in Harm's Way, we're launching a new initiative. We're made for this moment, and we're solving the crisis with a brand new campaign called TheLastI'mSorry.com. TheLastI'mSorry.com is a mobile-friendly site that features an interactive platform allowing for any person to identify exactly what they're experiencing and then get 2 immediate and actionable solutions based on the visitor's situation. It's built to be fast, private, and easy to exit because we recognize the danger that survivors may face just by searching for help. SafeInHarmsWay.org believes every person should have the opportunity to find unique help for their safety needs. And that's why TheLastI'mSorry.com was built for men, women, people of color, the queer community, immigrants, and medically compromised people. So check out the show notes. Save the solutions, share the resources, and save a life today.
Congratulations, Cold Weather Company, on 13 years and 5 album releases. Let's take a moment and vibe with Cold Weather Company for a few seconds. To hear more, look anywhere you get your music, and be sure to check them out on all the socials. It's so good. I love that. So how do you come up with the artwork? Like, does someone in the group come up with it, or do you have someone, like an outside person, that does your art for you?
Yeah, so we these days, his name's Joe Ruff, Ruff. He's awesome. He's in another band too that we connected with years ago called the Afraid Brigade, and he's just an amazing artist. And once we had him do a shirt design or 2 or stickers, we just used him for so many things. He did our last 2 album covers, and then he did so many merch designs. So he's just kind of our go-to guy. Before that, we were doing Brian's photography or drone footage,
Sure.
which we still use as parts of the record. Like if on the vinyl, like it's Joe's artwork, but then Brian has pictures from Colorado he's taken all around like when you open it and on the back and everything.
Right.
And so it's a mix. It's always a conversation of what we think represents the story, you know?
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, is like, for that particular 5th album, what does the process look like? Because you've got to kind of give them some ideas, like, this is the vibe for this album, this is kind of what we're thinking, or do y'all just let him have free reign and go, okay, listen to it and then come up with something? We
do a mix of both. I think we gave him free reign and he came up with a night character, because some of our music is a little medieval, has this night vibe to it. We actually kind of created this character called the Fellow in the North. It was a song of ours that it was originally going to be a candidate for a band name, and then we're like, that shouldn't be our band name, but that should be a song. And then it became this kind of character. And I think Joe, for this album, this album just, with the lyrics and with the different songs and the things we went through as a band, it just felt like, and also I don't want to use the word jaded, but as it's 13 years in and like we're still going for it because we're passionate, but you just get used to being like, oh, the thing's almost going to happen. Like, oh, right. The Netflix show wants to use our song. Oh, they're not. Okay. You just get used to so many of those over the years that you just kind of become, it's probably good. It makes you like cautiously optimistic and kind of just less starry eyed and a little bit,
keeps you humble, man. You're like, okay, let's go.
Really does. Yeah. But then, what it does? It drives you back to the roots of what you're doing.
Yes.
It's like, well, are we doing this out of desperation or inspiration? Like, am I chasing this because I have to do music because I want to avoid staring at spreadsheets all day, or are we doing this because it's an outlet? It's like therapy, and and we just decided, or not decided, but you know what I mean. came to the realization, or at least I did. It's like, no, we're doing this because it's just a cool story we're building. So
yeah, this is what you love. This is what you're passionate about, and how cool to be able to make that what you're doing for your life. And that's exciting that you're able to do these things. I know it comes with lots of hard work and lots of just like you were saying, lots of just moments where you think something's going to happen and either it doesn't, or you just it kind of fades out and you never find out. Just all of those things, because I'm sure trying to build a band, getting the word out, and making sure people know it, that's a lot of work in itself. So you've got, you're playing the music, you've got that down. The group is amazing. You've got that down, but it's so much more than just that when it comes to having a band that you really want people to listen to and have a well-known name. And speaking of names, how did you guys come up with the name of the band?
Oh yeah, it was we're texting in a group chat where we throw ideas around for like 2 weeks, and somebody said Cold Water Canvas, and I had a backpack growing up that was Cold Water Canyon, so I think it has CWC or something like that.
Yeah.
And somehow Cold Weather Company just came out, and we were like, And I remember some of the guys I was living with in college, I said the band name, and it's just, when you're a band and you're just establishing yourself with a name, it's always going to be cringe at first. Like Led Zeppelin was probably cringe at first, just hearing the name without seeing Jimmy Page shred and Robert Plant go. Like it's, I think the confidence behind the name at first, it's like, oh, I don't know if I stand by this, that kind of thing. But over time, you just kind of learn to own it, and it felt like our brand. It's like Company and Cold Weather, kind of the vibe of writing songs together. A lot of memories just in the winter and fall, the blue season. So
I think just from my perspective of knowing from TikTok, the vibes that I get from the videos that are on TikTok when the camera's set up to record all of you and you're doing your thing, there's such a vibe. And I think that the name reflects that vibe totally. So I think you guys nailed it.
Well, thank you. I love that.
Yeah. It's a really cool name. It's different than anything I've heard. And it makes you think like, Cold Weather Company, like, okay, well, they must live somewhere cold, which is right? But it's a cool name.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I've really, embraced it over the years. I got it on my water bottle. I'm always...
Of course, as you should. So what does that look like? With time goes on, you do have to start the marketing. You do have to start the social medias, all of the things that come with building a name. How did that work out?
It's just passion and a skill set that matched for our little machine. Steve was good at building communities and social media. So he's the one who pioneered our presence and came up with content. And Brian having the, photography side, and that really was just them building, I think, our Instagram in the beginning, and Facebook at that point was more relevant. Not that it's not relevant now, but it was different.
It's like you have to be on all of them if you're going to really do it.
Right. And with booking shows, it was always DIY, contacting venues, or there's so many people that are. The reason bands keep going and make it is because there's so many names of folks like Caroline. She's somebody from New Jersey who, like, her passion is just booking bands at venues. Like, she was a talent booker pretty much. And there's people like that who just always have you in mind and ask you to play shows. So we had the luxury of having a cool network of people who just, do you want to play this show? Can you play this event? And so we were booking our own tours and things like that. And there's definitely a lot of business to it. And as we matured and learned how things work, like when I say, ironically, I'm like, I don't want to stare at spreadsheets. I want to like do music. Well, it's like, I have spreadsheets of every band and who their booking agent is and who their, not where their tours are, but just a lot of information like that, or like Spotify playlists and like where we would fit. And it's a lot of like those kind of thoughts of like, and these days it's changed. And that's why I kind of picked up our TikTok presence and started. That's where I found my niche and like my, I feel like, passion for content creation is through TikTok, because it's just this open canvas of creativity. And it's, you put your weird thoughts on there, and then you put the caption over it. And then if I put a song of ours in the background, it's a lot of grassroots. It's not like it's going to go viral overnight, maybe, but like, it's kind of like a lottery, but I love doing it. I feel like and that's where a DMB comes into the conversation, right? Because as a band, we weren't always covering Dave. It was always kind of a thing I would do.
Yeah.
just on my own. And then we started playing some songs together because we started doing because to fund these records, we started becoming a wedding band secretly, or like a
Awesome.
cover band.
You got
Which
to
we
make
still are.
money.
Yeah, if you can look us up, and we have a profile of like, because between the three of us, we know so many songs. So we've just done so many private gigs, corporate gigs, and we use that money to we don't pay ourselves. We just fund the recording process and travel and hotels. And so we started, covering the Stone at one point. We do Ants,
which is quite the feat. It's a song that's.
I love that one.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. I found, and through, John Mayer got big by covering Dave. It's just the thing. And there's so many artists who get exposure through covering other artists. So I started doing it and marketing myself, probably annoyingly, through DMB groups on Facebook when I was younger, being like, look at my cover. And like people would like post Dave stories, and I would just kind of statistically be like, but look at me playing guitar, Dave.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore.
Well, you're not the only one. There's still people doing it, but I enjoy watching people try to figure it out.
Oh yeah, and some people. Yeah, I've met some really cool people through musicians and people just through the communities, and finding them on TikTok. I always knew that there's got to be like a Dave side of TikTok, and I finally tapped into it. I think it was our Stone cover video, and just me posting covers all the time. And I do I don't know if you've ever seen the soccer ball gimmick I do. I juggle soccer ball while playing.
Yes, I have. Which is like, it captures you from the first moment. You're like, stop scrolling. What's he doing?
Yeah, so it's kind of a gimmick, and I feel like a kind of a clown doing it, but it works for.
It worked.
Sometimes views, so I'll do it. And, the Dave community is very supportive and just passionate. And, I've always been kind of blunt of like, me covering Dave is a vehicle of exposure for us. However, it's not like it's ill-willed, because it's like I'm truly a fan and I'm passionate. So like, I love, and people give me layups all the time. People like comment, play Raven. And I'm like, yeah, so I can video reply to playing Raven,
Wow.
So I absolutely love it because people are just passionate, giving me content ideas. So, there's definitely some weeks you'll go on our page and be like, is this just a DMB cover band? All this guy posts is Dave. It's like people are commenting Dave requests. So,
of course.
So it's just a way.
It's a great way to get exposure.
I've met so many cool people, and there's one. I gotta tell one quick Dave story that's not band related. That has to do with just the DMB community.
Yeah.
That, has to do with Facebook. So somebody I got tickets through somebody to MSG in like 2018, and they were nice enough to drive to my work to drop off their license, knowing that in order to get the tickets, I'd have to bring it to the will call and like or whatever, and pretend that I was them. I think the girl I was dating at the time had brown hair, and so did this person. So she was like, oh, she kind of looks like me, like whatever. And I was like, okay, we'll try it. And that was how I got the tickets. So these people not only like sold me tickets at like a reasonable cost just because they couldn't go, they dropped off, it was probably an hour drive for them, their ID. And she's like, oh, it's fine. You could just like, I think it might have been expired. Either way, they had an ID that they trusted me with randomly.
Right.
Get their tickets. And then I mailed it back. So that was like a cool, just DMB community story of like, I just thought that was really cool.
It sounds like something Dave people would do.
Yeah.
For the most part, such a generous community of fans. And so that totally sounds like a very normal story, but very cool. Like, hey, we'll help you get in. Just let me send you my ID.
Yeah, here's my idea. Big deal. Yeah, it was cool.
So what are you guys' future plans? So we know that you've got to be thinking always about the future, right? Like how to stay relevant, how to stay in front of people, how to keep getting in front of people. What's your plan? Like, do you have tours that are already out there? Or if someone's really wanting to look into seeing you guys, what's the best way that they can find you?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Jeff from Cold Weather Company, an indie alternative folk band who you may enjoy if you listen to Fleet Foxes, Edward Sharpe, Iron and Wine, Mumford, Coldplay, Noah Kahan, Eddie Vedder, and of course, Dave Matthews Band. We just released our 5th album called In Time, and I'd love for you to check it out wherever you listen to music. Be sure to follow us on all social platforms at Cold Weather Company. In particular, TikTok and Instagram, where you'll see plenty of Dave Matthews covers on a backwards guitar, and even sometimes while juggling a soccer ball. It would be, on Spotify, we have a Bands in Town thing where we announce shows, and also on our website. And we have a New York City show in, like, these days, we're starting to play venues again because we funded the album, and we also did a Kickstarter. So shout out to everybody who helped out with that. It was awesome. But these days we're trying to play more just venues again. We're focusing on maybe doing a sort of live recording and maybe releasing a live, like, stripped down version of not the album, but just a bunch of our songs. And we another single in the works, and just keep recording, and we're trying to get sync deals if we can. We just keep going on social media, trying to get exposure. Right. And it's one of those things you just, we're just always going to do it.
Right. It's what you want, and you're going after it.
Yeah. And they're just, because if I'm just laying there, I'm like, well, I could be thinking of content right now.
Exactly.
So that's pretty much our plans. There's just a couple shows coming up, but no extended tour just yet. We'll see.
Well, what is the website address that people can go to? Is it just the simple, like, coldweathercompany.com, or hey, you nailed it. You made it easy.
Yeah, exactly.
And then on social media, of course, you're on everything, I would imagine: Facebook, Instagram, of course, TikTok. Mm-hmm. And so they can go to the website and see those dates that are coming up in the future. I know that Dave fans have a very empty fall because Dave's not touring this fall. And so, guys, if you're looking for some fun things to do this fall, definitely check out Cold Weather Company. I think that if you've never heard them before, just get on TikTok, get on Spotify, check them out. We're always looking to expand our catalog in our head of different bands, and I think Cold Weather Company is one of those that we need to watch. So I'm just so glad that you were willing to come on the show, just so that we could introduce you guys to fans that I know will appreciate your past, and what brought you to your future, because this music has kind of catapulted so many fans into doing things that may have never happened if they hadn't heard the music. And so your story is kind of the same. You found Dave, you saw him, and you were almost like challenged by him in a way. Like, can I do that? And you did that. And you went to school and you met the right people, and which is an amazing thing all in its own, just finding the right people, right? Because it is such a brotherhood, and there are ups and downs, and there are things that happen that make it difficult to hang out with people every second, what seems like. But you're so passionate about your plan, your project, what you're doing, that all of that kind of falls to the wayside, and you can get through it. And so I love your story of chasing your passion and making it happen. And I know it's been 13 years, but dude, I think good things come to those that wait. And I think you guys are in the right space at this time you're going to get discovered. And before you know it, you'll be at MSG opening for somebody, and then off on your own. I can feel it.
Well, at the end of the day, it's just like, well, regardless, even if none of that happens and I just become an old man still posting on TikTok Dave covers, it's like, I'm just going to do it anyway. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like, we've gotten to that point where I love what we do. I love writing together, and I love, I love the pursuit and content creation. I think it's so fun. A lot of musicians will complain about it, rightfully so. It is annoying, right? To have to.
It can be a lot.
Post content. And when you find a passion through it, it's just an outlet of your weird brain, of your creativity.
Yeah.
So I love it.
No, me too. I love TikTok so much because, I guess the theory behind those videos and the ones that capture those attention, you've got like 1 second to catch them, right? You've got 1 second when they're scrolling through to grab their attention and make them stop scrolling. And you've gotten really good at that, like with the soccer balls and all of the things. And so it's always trying to think, though, like, okay, what is going to grab someone's attention so that I can share with them what I want to say or what I'm doing? TikTok's challenging, but it is so much fun because it does allow some nerdiness and weirdness. And that's what people are looking for. We're tired of seeing the same things over and over.
And one thing I found that works, or just, you find pillars of things that really work. And what I've learned is, a freight train of me doesn't really, like, look at my music, like, it's good to definitely talk about yourself, and people are interested in you, the universal you. But what I found is, posting things that tap into nostalgia or that people are so passionate about, they have to comment. And I noticed that one of my first posts that did really well on my personal page was my brother mailed me a Dumb and Dumber prop, like a gag toy. Yeah. And I just showed it, and it was a really crappy 8-second video. And all these Dumb and Dumber fans are just people that had to be like, oh my God, I get it. I get the,
Yes.
And so it's like things like that, when you tap into what you make people have to comment because they're so passionate about it. And it's a balance, right? Because you want to showcase your art and you, but also accommodate the fact that people are scrolling and people want to see stuff that speaks to them.
That's right.
And also the algorithm is a black hole of mystery and no one actually
You just never know. And it changes all of the time. There's a lot that comes along with it, but it sounds like you guys got the right recipe and you're just adding some ingredients now and it's going to be perfect in just no time.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, they always say you can't be afraid to be cringe. And, once I turn 30, it's nice to genuinely stop caring a lot about
exactly
what do people think, and you realize that no one cares that much, and
no one.
Cringe. People are probably there, after work, bored, and they see your cringe video, and they probably go, "Oh, good for you, good for that person for putting themselves out there."
Yeah. Yes.
It's nice to just have that kind of vibe and be like, yeah, I embarrass myself on social media, but who am I embarrassed?
I'm never going to meet any of those people. Well, although you never know, right? I would have never imagined when I first saw you that you were going to be on my show, but I mean, you just never know, right? But I'm so excited that we've made this connection and that you're on the show. And I like how I knew that there was going to be an interesting story with you just because I knew that there was some kind of Dave history in your story. I could just feel it. And so, of course I reached out and I was like, is this, would you be willing to do this? And of course you were so agreeable to it. So thank you so much. I know that everyone that's listening to this is going to check you guys out. And if not, guys, that's let's support our friends, their dreams, because this is a dream for you guys and we want to see you succeed. So check them out on Spotify. Is there any other place they can go to check out y'all's music?
When it comes to listening, Apple, Spotify, all of those. And then, we're on all the social media platforms. So YouTube,
Perfect.
Instagram, and TikTok. And
Perfect. Definitely check out the TikTok. We want to see more of those videos. You're very creative and fun in doing those. And so, guys, be sure to check them out. Jeff, I can't thank you enough for just carving out some time in your busy day to sit down and talk with me about Dave, but your band, and kind of giving us a little insight of how this is all coming together. And we know that the future is going to be bright for you guys. So I hope that, when things move along and some time has passed, that you'll come back and update us on what is going on with Cold Weather Company.
Of course, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for, giving us a platform and for finding us and inviting me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited that I found you. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. If you are listening on a podcast app, just know that you can watch this on YouTube simply under the space between podcasts. Just subscribe so that you know when the next episode is coming out. So I'm going to start rapid fire these interviews out. And then, of course, we're giving you homework like Cold Weather Company. Check them out. They're going to keep you warm during the fall, guys. So definitely check them out, put them on your playlist, and get ready for this fall when Dave is taking a break. But in the meantime, guys, peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you.